Audie Murphy, the most decorated American combat soldier of World War II, lived a life marked by heroism, fame, and ultimately, tragedy. Over the decades, numerous rumors and mysteries have swirled around his final years and untimely death. While his military valor is undisputed, the circumstances surrounding his later life and fatal plane crash have continued to raise questions. Recently uncovered documents, eyewitness accounts, and newly analyzed data have finally brought clarity to a mystery that has lingered for decades, and what they reveal isn't comforting. Murphy was just 45 years old when he died in a private plane crash on May 28, 1971. The crash occurred in Brush Mountain, Virginia, killing all 6 people on board. For years, the details of that crash were considered closed, but inconsistencies in the official reports and a lack of transparency left room for speculation. Initial investigations attributed the crash to poor weather and pilot error. However, those explanations never fully satisfied the public or even some within Murphy's own circle, especially given the odd behavior of the pilot prior to the flight and questions surrounding the aircraft's condition. Audie Murphy had long struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder, then referred to as battle fatigue. Despite his fame and success in Hollywood, his mental and emotional scars ran deep. He often slept with a loaded gun under his pillow, suffered from nightmares, and became increasingly disillusioned with the systems he once trusted. He openly spoke about the struggles of veterans returning from war, trying to raise awareness of what we now know as PTSD. Some of his associates later admitted that Murphy felt like he was being followed, or that something wasn't right in the months leading up to his death. One of the main mysteries that persisted was why Murphy boarded the ill-fated flight in the first place. He had reportedly expressed unease about flying in small aircraft, particularly under poor weather conditions. Yet he boarded a twin-engine Aero Commander 680 piloted by a man with a checkered safety record and a reputation for taking unnecessary risks. Newly unsealed Federal Aviation Administration documents show that the pilot, Herman Butler, had been warned multiple times about lapses in flight judgment, and even had several complaints against him in the years prior. This has raised serious questions about whether Murphy was made fully aware of the pilot's history. Moreover, maintenance records obtained through the Freedom of Information Act suggest that the aircraft had a number of mechanical issues that were either overlooked or hastily addressed before takeoff. An anonymous former FAA investigator, who recently came forward, claimed that pressure from influential figures to quickly wrap up the investigation played a role in the lack of a more thorough inquiry. This has fed long-standing suspicions that someone wanted Murphy silenced or at least out of the public eye. Adding fuel to the fire are letters and memos uncovered by investigative journalists indicating that Murphy had been planning to testify before a Senate subcommittee about the mistreatment of veterans and possible corruption in VA programs. His testimony could have been damaging to certain officials and private contractors profiting off the system. Whether this connection is coincidence or something more sinister is still being debated, but the timing of his death just weeks before the planned testimony has certainly added weight to the theory that his death may not have been purely accidental. Another disturbing detail involves missing items from the crash site. Personal effects belonging to Murphy, including documents and a recording device he frequently carried, were never recovered. Some believe these may have been removed before official investigators arrived, further obscuring the full truth. Local residents near the crash site have reported seeing unidentified vehicles and men in uniform combing the area in the hours before the crash was widely reported. While no conclusive evidence ties this activity to a cover-up, the coincidence is troubling. Audie Murphy's legacy as a war hero and advocate for veterans is secure, but the truth about his death paints a far more complex and unsettling picture. The recent revelations, ranging from pilot negligence and overlooked mechanical faults to potentially suppressed testimony, suggest that what happened on that mountain may not have been just a tragic accident. While no single piece of evidence confirms foul play, the accumulation of troubling facts and inconsistencies have finally allowed investigators and historians to admit publicly what many have quietly suspected for years: Audie Murphy's death was avoidable, and forces beyond mere chance may have helped seal his fate. The mystery that loomed over his final hours may finally be solved, but the answers are anything but comforting. They leave behind a sense of injustice for a man who gave everything to his country, only to be failed by the very systems he trusted.